What is going on? IPA fans out there, welcome back to another video of mine. I'm Mr. Josh, and I'll be bringing you the week 3 of, I'll bringing you the review of Magear week 3 matches, and keeping up with the tradition, I will start with my game, and I go up against Jarrett, who, just between me and him, we have a pretty heated rivalry, I guess you can say, starting the IACL. He's beaten me in pretty crucial moments. I'm not gonna say due to 100% skill, but he's definitely one of the better players I've ever played. He's one of the better players in the IPA in general. The only reason why I probably didn't play him in the finals is because he got fucked up with RNG by Matt, who I did play in the finals, and I returned the favor to him, which was kind of funny, and I guess you could say it was good justice for Jarrett. And here he is here at week 3, and he has a pretty scary team. But he's actually 0-2 up to this point, so I'm trying to make sure I don't give him his first win, especially since I don't like losing to him, because I feel like I am a better battler, but that's just me. Anyways, you have the battle of the Zards this week, one being shiny, one normal, because the color scheme for shiny Zard just corresponds with my nickname for it. That's the only reason why it's shiny, believe me. Otherwise, it would just be normal. Anyways, speaking of Charizard, this week it's I think it's just a DD Zard, nothing too special. I think it's just enough max speed to speed tie his Zard, some attack and some HP. Mixed defensive Powdon. I believe Cobra Berry. Yeah, it's Cobra Berry Dhelmise to take knockoffs from the Dawn fan. Excuse me. Set up Celesteela because I do know that he's going to bring Scarfelius. It just makes sense versus my team because I've already swept with a setup Celesteela, and setup Celesteela is pretty potent against his team. So I don't think he would want that. He wouldn't want to get swept by it, so it's a pretty good soft check to stopping that from happening, especially if I waste my Z move. It pretty much neuters Celesteela from winning a late game unless everything is chipped. And anyways, my next mon is Neolego. Electrium Z to deal with Empoleon because T-Bolt would just bounce off it, and it's a pretty decent check to Neolego otherwise. And let's say he has like Aqua Jet, that'll easily 2 KO me due to my just piss poor defense. And at least I'm pretty sure. I actually don't know the calcs, but like Neolego is so bad physically in physical defense, but like he has a shit ton of HP, so you never know. And last is Greninja with no Dark Pulse. No, it's kind of weird, but I had a reason. I think it was Ice Beam, low kick for the Kyurem Black and the Empoleon, Rock Slide for Zard, and some other move. I think it might have been Hydro Pump. Yeah, and I couldn't carry Dark Pulse, and it kind of bites me, but I mean, not really, but it would have. It kind of would have helped. Anyways, let's just get into the match. Yeah, music's off, thank God. So I'm gonna lead with the Powdon, and he's gonna lead with the Dawn fan. The exchange of rocks are extremely obvious, but like, there's nothing I can do about that. He outspeeds me as he should because Dawn fan has an higher base speed. Now I'm gonna go into my Dhelmise. Even if he predicts this and clicks knockoff, it doesn't really matter because like I get the rapid spin off because he does not have a ghost type, and he can't spin versus me, which is really all I want. And with Rock speeding up, it really chips down his Kyurem Black as it comes in, and his Charizard, so this is just really good for me. Not to mention that this Kyurem Black takes 10 plus rapid spin, which is, don't get me, that's tremendous chip. This puts it in range of like low kick 100%. And anyways, at this point I'm going to go into my Neolego, which is kind of a risky play because he could have clicked like Dragon Claw, but I didn't think he was going to click a physical dragon move there. I figured a special move was coming, and if he clicked Earth Power, that just would have been a really ballsy play. That was unnecessary at this point in the game because it's only turn 4 after all. And anyways, I forced a tremendous amount of pressure, and I'm going to predict him to switch because Empoleon is like the easiest switching for him because it resists both my stabs, being immune to one of them. So I predict that, put in range of Electrium Z T-Bolt 100% because it would not have died from full and I needed a chip. So at this point, I'm not sure if Power Gem put it in range. Otherwise, I probably just would have clicked it. So I don't think it did. Anyways, Gigavolt have it, kills it, and I do get the speed boost. And I forgot to mention, I am a speed boosting the Lego because it allows me to outspeed like Scarf, Kyurem Black. If it decides to try to revenge kill me, it can't because of the speed boosting nature of my new Lego. And that's kind of cool, in my opinion. I also get to outspeed itself, and if I chip it down enough, it dies Sludge Wave. Anyways, this thing comes in. Now, you know, I was expecting the Earthquake, so I switch, and he goes for the Rock Tomb, and he actually had no reason to click Rock Tomb, like, at all. So that proves to me that he just doesn't have Earthquake, which is kind of ridiculous, because I could have stayed in and just 2 killed him with Grass Knot, and that would have been kind of nice. Anyways, I missed the Power Whip here, which, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It was just kind of annoying at the time because, like, it sucks. Like, I hate when like Jarrett hacks me because it just kind of sucks. Coming from this guy out of all people, it sucks a lot. Anyways, at this point, he goes into the Kieran Black, and I click Ice Beam because it was a no drawback play. He had no ice resist, as it doesn't kill. And, you know, the Scarf Kieran Black, I guess, was potent, but I expected him to be either Habanberry or, I guess, I didn't expect Scarf. It was a bad item placement on his part. Like, if he left himself in a D-Claw, let's say, like, Scarf didn't do anything for him because, like, +1 Zard outspeeds anyways. And Habanberry allows him to take a Dragon Claw otherwise. And it's not like I would go for Flare Blitz typically unless I hard read the Habanberry, which I probably would. Because I think +1 Flare Blitz does kill Kieran Black after rocks, if I'm not mistaken. I don't exactly know. Kieran Black is pretty bulky, so it might, but at the same time I don't know. But I expected the Habanberry, so I didn't think Scarf. I didn't expect Scarf. Long story short. Anyways, he goes into the obvious Scarf.jpg Heliolisk because it's just the most obvious set versus my team. He goes for Grass Knot, and I read that pretty well. And now I get to just fire off any move versus his team. He goes into the Elefunk, which, I mean, like I said, this is why Power Whip miss doesn't really matter because Sludge Wave plus Grass Knot put in range of death, even at full. So that's kind of cool. So Donphan dies. It's now 5v3, and I get the speed boost here. This is basically my biggest choke of the game right here. Basically, I didn't need this mon to win the game. Like, sure, it was great versus Zard, and like I hard walled the Heliolisk with this basically, but I didn't need it. Like I straight up won with my other mons, and let's say if I clicked Sludge Wave right here, I would have won because he clicks Nasty Plot, and that was a play he needed to make to have a chance of coming back in this game. So basically, if I would have clicked Sludge Wave there, I think I would have 5-0'd. But in this case, he killed me with Flamethrower. I didn't really have a switch. Let's be fair. And now I go to my Greninja. I have to make him think I have the hard Dark Pulse like a Greninja should, but I don't. And I click Rock Slide because I had a bake on a flinch if he stayed in. That way Gunk Shot, which that was my last move. It was Gunk Shot, not Hydro Pump. I don't know why I thought I had Hydro Pump, but I do have Gunk Shot on this thing, and Rock Slide would have put this thing in range of Gunk Shot 100%. So I needed to click that move. I had no choice. Rock Slide was cool because the Zard came in and died, which was like hilarious as fuck. But anyways, the obvious .jpg Heliolisk comes in. This time he does not click Grass Knot, which is kind of cool. I could have clicked Earthquake here, but honestly I thought Azelf was the easiest switch in for him. If I would have done that, that would have been cool. But at the same time, it actually no. I mean, that probably would have actually won me the game. So you see, there's another misplay. Looking back at this, I know I made misplays, but you'll see in the later on there was some things that just didn't go my way. Anyways, I go into the Heliolisk. If he has anything but Psyshock, I will live, but he has Psyshock because he should have it, which is fine. I couldn't really necessarily switch into anything. I probably could have swapped into Greninja, but it's whatever. Anyways, I go into this thing, and I didn't expect the Z move here. This is obviously Z Psychic. And he has Psyshock, which doesn't, like, Z Psyshock doesn't take part in your defense, so otherwise I would have lived 100%, but I was checking the damage calcs. Max special attack, Z Psyshock, has a 6% chance of killing me if he is timid, so he clicks it, and I'm, okay, I live this 100%, oh, no, I died. And I was thinking, oh, maybe he was modest, but no, he was actually timid, and he got the 6% roll in his favor to kill me. I would have killed this thing with Dragon Claw. Heliolisk would not have beaten my it would not have killed Hippowdon on one hit with Grass Knot, and I would have won the game right there, 2-0. But you know, Jarrett once again he just gets the roll of the dice on his side, and you know, it just kind of blows. Anyways, this is my last chance because after Sand plus Toxic, this thing goes down to about 13%, and if Showdown is nice enough to give me the Stealth Rock roll on the 13%, I will win that way. But yeah, I don't know. It comes down to this. So anyways, he goes into the Azelf. I click the Ice Beam. I outspeed this thing even if it comes in, but it dies to Sand anyways. I don't handle the stats. I think the mods do, so I don't know how they counter that kill. This match was a while ago, nor do I care. Anyways, this lives on 1%. That was fucking salty. Like at the time, oh my god, I wanted to fucking shoot myself because like It's bad enough losing to a 6% roll, but like to Jarrett and to give him his first win. Everything about this match was fucking horrible. I hate losing to Jarrett. No, I love Jarrett as a person. He's awesome. Like, he's actually one of the most genuine guys you'll ever meet. But I fucking hate losing to this guy. I absolutely hate it. You could see, Flame, the salt. I was salty. I was straight up salty. I really was. There's nothing more I could say. I was straight up salty, and I believe me, I was so mad about this game. And of course, I forfeit. I lost my first game. Now I'm 2-1, and Jarrett's now 1-2. And I'm in a division where I can't be losing games. And to lose a game because of a 6% roll, not to mention, I guess I made some bad plays, but I felt like it didn't matter because if things went my way, I would have won the game. So I felt like it didn't matter. But you know, shit happens. So now we're 2-1. Jarrett's 1-2 at this point, and that blew more than a porn star. Anyways, we're just gonna go on to the next game. I'll be right back. And bada bing, bada boom, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with Brett and King. Brett trying to get his first win of the season. I believe King is 1-1 at this point. I could be wrong. I could be right. Otherwise, he's 0-2, but I'm pretty sure he has one win. I forgot who it was against, but he does have one win. I'm reasonably certain on that. Anyways, yeah, Brett with his pretty standard-looking team that he seems to bring every week, and King, he has a pretty cool-looking team on his side. He has the Rhydon, the Solgor. Solgor is a personal favorite. Skun Tank to probably counter to Hoopa U. McTinney can do everything, so I don't know what that will be, obviously. Rotom Wash looks pretty good as a utility mon since it takes on Darmanitan pretty reasonably well. And I guess Gligar to an extent. So anyways, let's just get into the game in 3, 2, 1. And yeah, let's just get into it. So, King is going to lead with the Rotom Wash as Brett leads with the Key to Your Heart. How cute. Anyways, Rotom Wash clicks Volt Switch right away. That does a decent amount of damage. I don't know if that's offensive Rotom or just not especially defensive Klefki. He goes into the Victini. That's going to obviously force out the keys as he goes out into the Darmanitan. As Victini now clicks to work up, but at this point, King does not want to take a Rock Slide or an Earthquake, whatever this move may be. As the Earthquake does come, and he almost 2 kills right on until it looks like a roll, but the Brett does not get the roll, unfortunately for him. In fact, it was the same thing. It was 49.5 and 49.5. King expected him to switch, I'm guessing, so he clicks Rocks, because he could have clicked Earthquake and got ready to sing immediately, which, Discord, whoops. Which I'm pretty sure that would have been his intent, since it kind of whacks his team, since the Rotom is now toxic, but speak of the devil, Heal Bell comes and heals the Rotom, so there you go. I'm guessing this doesn't have Earthquake, which is why he swapped that, or he just didn't want to take a toxic. So he sacks the Rhydon. So Brett's now up 6-5. At this point, he's going to go right back into the Victini, who goes, again, just forces out the Klefki. I'm sorry for the Discord notifications. I need to put that into that disturb after this. Anyways, here comes the workup as, holy shit, okay. Anyways, here comes the obvious Glacier as he goes into Horse's nose. And, that's going to take 13%. The Clear Body will not lose speed, but the Victini will still outspeed. Here comes the Bolt Strike, and, that just clean knocks it out. He says Rip max attack as the Tentacruel, but they're both base 100 speed, so unless he lost the speed to, I'm not sure. Anyways, here comes the Skun Tank, and that takes absolutely nothing from that Hyperspace Fury. I'm just kidding, I did a million, because, Skun Tank's just kind of weak. Anyways, here comes the Pursuit, and let's talk about this for a second. That's an 80 base stab move plus stab, with a -1 Hoopa, and that only did 56%, give or take. Like, obviously, Skun Tank's not the best mon in the world, but that's actually, like, really bad. I'm sorry, Skun Tank, but that just wasn't really good on your part. Anyways, we're about to see some pretty cool attack on Brett's part. I have to give him the credit. Anyways, here comes the Protect for, I guess King just wants to scout for what this set might be. Looking like a special set, as you can see there. So he's going to go into, I'm going to guess, especially biased defensive Rotom. Here comes the Hurricane and does absolutely nothing. But, Brett kind of expected for this to be his Torn T answer. So here comes the Tech Z Grass Knot Bloom Doom. And that's just going to blow away the Rotom Wash. So, good plays on Brett's part, because now Darmanitan has a little bit more free reign, because this Hurricane will put Victini into a kill range of Flare Blitz most likely. As King, he explained to me after the game, because we talk about Pokemon together because we're good friends, and he just messed up with his calcs. He thought he could live 2 Hurricanes or I forgot what it was. I think he accounted that he would have the plus. No, I basically messed up his calcs. He didn't expect Hurricane to do that much, and as a result, he got 2 KO'd. And it was a little too late when he realized, oh, that's kind of bad. So he goes into the Altaria, dodges the Hurricane, but it doesn't make up for it because he gets crit by a Sludge Wave on the +1 DD here. And he looks like he's running a really bulky Altaria because his Hornty will actually outspeed the Altaria, as if he was probably going for Roost. And that sucks because obviously a bulky Altaria just really messes with his team because Darman Attack can't break it. This would be doing somewhat okay damage with Sludge Wave, but he would have to hope for a 10% poison to really do anything, or another crit, one of the two. Hoopa, you would just die with +1. Actually, no, it's probably he would outspeed because he's Scarf Hoopa and bound most likely, but again, let's say King goes to +2, that would be, but basically a bulky DD Altaria really messed up Brett's team, but due to the crit, he was able to get it out of the way. So at this point, it's looking really good for Brett. He's up 5-3. Hurricane does a decent amount of damage to the Skuntic. King could have killed this thing right here with foul play, but I guess he needed to make plays to win, and that included predicting this thing to switch. And looking at that damage, it wouldn't have died if it swapped, which is kind of funny. Anyways, Hurricane comes out, and it kills the Skuntic, so now it's 5-2. And Brett's going to play this smart. He's going to go into the Clef Key, knowing that Salgor typically won't do too much to Clef Key unless he has like Specs Focus Blast or like Titanium Z Focus Blast, one of the two. Anyways, yeah, Bug Buzz is absolutely nothing because, you know, that's just kind of how it is, especially when you 4 times resist a Bug Buzz. Anyways, actually, I'm pretty sure King, no, I think I think I made the set with King. I'm pretty sure we're Insect Plate Bug Buzz, which is why I did a decent amount of damage. Anyways, here comes V-Crate, and that's going to claim a kill. Here comes Eyebrow Game, and Brett has no reason to not go for Flare Blitz at this point. And here comes the Flare Blitz, and that's just going to blow away the Slugor because it's in the Slugor and to tweak the Flare Blitz. And that's Sheer Force boosted. Victini comes in, and there is a slight, if things go into King's favor, there's a slight chance he can win. Anyways, I guess that wasn't Scarf Demand at the time because of Victini outsped, but this is definitely Scarf Hoopa, and that will clean up the game. So Brett finally picks up his first win of the season, and King has to take the L and lose to Brett, which, you know, nobody wanted to, but, you know, somebody had to eventually, unless Brett would have gone 0 and, like, actually, no, he wouldn't have gone 0 and 10 completely because freaking Horse plays some of his games, so there you go. Anyways, good game to Brett. Played pretty fair and square. The crit on the Altaria pretty much sealed up the deal for King. Like, at that point, there wasn't really much you could do. And not to mention the choke with the calc on the Victini wasn't much of a help either. So anyways, we'll just pause and we'll get right into the next game, so we'll be right back. And bada bing, bada boom, we are back, and looking at Matt's team, it gives me fucking cancer because I see a bunch of pink, and pink typically means stall, and that's not fun. But there's a Sneasel and a Keldeo to make up for it, so that's kind of cool. Flame has his fire set of mons. He has Icy Hot the Akirum. Got Coop the Zapdos. You got Magear Miner, the Milotic, the Gliscopod, you know, Gliscopod's cool. Gardevoir, and the Zoroark. So anyways, not much more to get into. Obviously, looking at Rockers, Flame doesn't have any, which is kind of weird, but, you know, whatever. And Matt looks like his Rocker will be the Nidoqueen. So anyways, 3, 2, 1, and boom. Here comes the Yadno as Flame's just going to leave with the Milotic. So pretty standard, stally looking start to a game. He misses Toxic on the Silvally Steel, which is kind of funny. And anyways, here comes the Keldeo as Flame now switches himself into the Zapdos. So this is pretty good for Flame, able to get the advantage on the obviously on the Keldeo. Then here comes the Audino, but you know, Flame predicts that again, and here comes the Milotic. So right now there's just a bunch of doubles going on. Then here comes the Keldeo on the expected Toxic because Flame has no reason not to click it. So Keldeo is now on a timer, which is fantastic because Milotic will probably beat this 1v1 now, which is always pretty fun. Flame clicks Recover, which I guess was a good play, expecting the potential Spec Secret Sword, or even Scarf Secret Sword, he can scout the damage, but he does reveal Calm Mind. Then he reveals the Haze, so we see Toxic, Recover, and Haze, which is, you know, and probably last move Scald, which is, you know, pretty good set and overall for Milotic. The only problem is that, well, actually no, the only problem with this play here is that Flame probably should have known that Lomola was going to click Toxic and Toxic only, so they stay in like that. I don't agree with because Milotic stops his team reasonably well just by itself. He doesn't really break it. So to allow for it to get toxic like that is not the best play in the world, but whatever, that's just me. Anyways, here comes the Zapdos. Now Flame is going to switch again into the Milotic as he goes into the Nidoqueen. So good play on Flame's part. He's able to get the advantage, and he can now choose to fire off a Scald or just, drop another Toxic, or, whatever he chooses to go for. Anyways, he does reveal last move Scald. Does a decent amount to Lone Mola, actually, considering Lone Mola is pretty fat, and that's Resist. But, anyways, Flame now clicks Recover, which is interesting, because he's now at a lower amount of HP than he would have been if he didn't click Recover, or just stayed in general, so whatever. I'm not going to question any plays by Flame. He does everything for a reason. Anyways, here comes Zapdos again. Here comes the Keldeo and the Wish. It's not Keldeo's back up full, but the only problem is that it's now facing Zapdos again, just like in turn, 3? So, not the best case scenario for Matt. As he now goes into the Nidoqueen, which is fantastic for him because he predicts the Discharge. And he's now finally get up the freest of rocks you'll possibly get, because obviously Zapdos does not want to stay in and click HP Ice if he did have it. I don't know if he did or not. So now rocks are up, so that's going to really affect the Zapdos and the freaking Guzma, the Golisopod, which is always pretty nice for him. Anyways, so we're back to this scenario where Keldeo is on the Milotic. It's a repeat of like turn 4 basically. What is it, turn 4. Anyways, Flame clicks to recover. It's not the best scenario for Flame, because let's say he stays in, he's going to take a massive hit from this +1 Secret Sword, which he chooses to do, while of course clicking Haze here, which now means that Flame is at 20% of his Milotic, and that's going to force him to pretty much sack it, which isn't, like I said, that's why I wouldn't have wanted my Milotic to get Toxic, because that pretty much put Flame in a really bad spot, because that was his defensive win con, and then this is just a really good this is good prep on Matt's part. He clicks the Hydro Vortex and just KOs the Zapdos after rocks, which is awesome considering Keldeo was going to die that turn anyways. So to see it do that and take down 2 mods in 2 turns was pretty good on Matt's part. It gives him a bunch of momentum. Anyways, here comes the Zoroark, because obviously it took 12% as a Golisopod, meaning that it has to be the Golisopod obviously. And I guess freaking not Matt. Ethan and Cole weren't paying attention, and they thought that this was an actual Calm Mind Golisopod, but I guess they're just retards sometimes. They forgot that it was a Zoroark, so that's why there is a Calm Minding Golisopod on the field. As here comes the real Golisopod. It was pretty funny, because Showdown says, come back Golisopod, go Golisopod, and they're like, oh yeah. And they do realize that they are retarded, which is, good on them. Anyways, this clicks Leech Life and gets like all of its HP back. Does have to take Rocky Helmet, so this does prove to be a more defensive set, which is why Skull did a decent amount of damage to it earlier. Anyways, here comes the Leech Life, gets a crit, so that's gonna take it all the way up to 99%. Oh, but back to 12 and go down to 76% after Toxic. There it is. So Flame, it's just not looking good, which is it's just not good. It's not looking good for him. Anyways, here comes Silvally Steel. I'm guessing it's like a Spadef set for Kyurem, because Kyurem has done pretty good work for Flame so far this season. Oh, by the way, in terms of record, Flame is 2-0, so he's trying to go 3-0, just like I was in week 3. You know how that went out. Anyways, here comes another crit, a crit and a defense drop at the same time. That couldn't have got, and the emergency exit. So that was the most perfect scenario for Flame. That actually couldn't have gotten any better, which is kind of funny. Anyways, here comes the Alomomola to the Hyper Voice. So Matt's willing to let the fish go down. So it's now 4-4, but he still has 1 Fat Pinkmon alive and a Nidoqueen, which does a decent amount of work to his team. Anyways, here comes the Audino. It's just gonna click Wish and Protect. That's kind of what Audino does. If this was like Calm Mind Gardevoir, this would maybe beat it, because this doesn't seem to have Toxic. It does have Encore. It does have Encore indeed. Or I don't know if Matt had the tech Throat Chop Sneasel to stop Mega Gardevoir. It's like the best counter in the game to it, but I don't think he had it. At least we never see it in this game. Spoilers. Anyways, I don't know, when Gardevoir just click Calm Mind and Protect and Hyper Voice. I mean Wish, Protect, and Hyper Voice for like 5 turns. Anyways, here comes another Wish. Guzma bitch comes back in, now at 60%. And he's going to basically stand on the liquidation. Here comes a Encore, but it doesn't really matter because emergency exit's going to activate. that gives him another free switch into whatever he wants. So it's kind of cool tech on Flame's part with the wish, and the emergency exit with the stealth rock. I actually kind of like that. That's kind of cool. Anyways, here comes the hyper voice once again. Does nothing, but this does prove to have toxic. So I guess we see it now. Interesting that he didn't reveal toxic on him. He didn't want to toxic the Milotic turn 1, which is kind of interesting, but whatever. Anyways, they both wish once again. Gardevoir is now toxic, and he doesn't seem to have Yobel in his Gardevoir because he couldn't really fit it most likely. So this isn't looking good for Flame at all. Here comes the Guzma bitch. Now it goes up to 62%. So after the next turn, it will guarantee go down to emergency exit. He tries to poison dab at him, but he fails to do so. Here comes the emergency exit once again with the wish, which I must admit, like I've said so this entire for the last couple minutes, that's really cool tech. Anyways, here comes the Zoroark, indeed with the best disguise a Zoroark can ever have. Anyways, he clicks sub and Dark Pulse actually bounces off this Nidoqueen, which is absolutely insane. Like Zoroark is no joke. Like that did nothing. That did absolutely zero. Anyways, so Dark Pulse does nothing. Flame is forced to switch out into Guzma bitch, as Nidoqueen is just going to click Toxic Spikes here, actually, which is pretty interesting. I don't know why, but he did, so good on him. Anyways, Nidoqueen outspeeds, obviously, and this doesn't seem to have Aqua Jet, so Matt's going to claim his Killder, which is always pretty nice. Anyways, here comes the Gardevoir. Matt makes a pretty questionable play and just sacks the Nidoqueen straight up. I guess he didn't need it to win, like, at all, so I guess that's a fair play. As now the Sneasel gets to come in for absolutely free and claim a kill with knockoff, I'm guessing. Yeah, here comes the knockoff. No throat chop, unfortunately. So, anyways, that goes down. It's 3-2. Flame now goes into his Kyurem Black, and a Kyurem, not just normal Kyurem, as the Steel Volley Steel is going to come in and just prove why it was here to exist. Its pure reason to exist was to counter this Kyurem, and Flame actually reveals the Blizzard, so he doesn't have Earth Power for Steel types, which is, you know, kind of, I guess he didn't predict the Steel Volley Steel. Question mark. Anyways, so yeah, multi-attack fails to kill. So Silvally doesn't even get the satisfaction of claiming a kill. So Silvally, you know, it did something though. It actually did what it had to do. So props to Matt there. Anyways, here comes the Sludge Bomb Poison. So even with the well-read predictions, nothing really matters, as here comes the Protect, and that'll be a 3-0 win on Matt's part. So Flame now falls 2-1. So both the undefeated boys are now no longer undefeated, which, you know, kind of blows, but hey, what can you do? So at this point, I believe King was never undefeated. I'm not undefeated, and Flame lost. So it's not looking good for the IACO boys. So we got to bank on Hunter to hopefully redeem ourselves. So I'm going to pause real quick, and we'll get to Hunter's game right now. So I'll be right back. And bada bing bada boom, we are back, and here is Mr. Hunter Z Infected himself. You know, the man, the myth, the legend. As you can see with his team, he has the Shandy, which he got from Matt through trade and free agency, which is, you know, better interesting. And Hunter was telling me the reason why he did this was because he wanted mods with insane offensive stats. Obviously, Porygon Z with an insane special attack stat. Now he has Chandelure with what, base 145 special attack. And the fact that he now has that on his roster is, you know, pretty amazing. And the 389 special attack is with Timid Nature, may I mention. So, anyways, Hunter, pretty interesting looking team with the Heatran, the Evire, Shandy. You know, it looks like a really Hunter-esque team. Looking really bad on paper, but it will work out somewhere. But he does have to go through the other Josh, aka Black Me, with the Mega Mawile, Nidoking, Weavile, Tornadus, Miltank, and Vaporeon. Looks like the same team he brings, except he does bring the Tornadus and the Vaporeon, something we haven't really seen too much from Josh so far this season. So I'm interested to see how he does, but at the same time, I do want Hunter to win because, you know, the ISCO boys just not. In fact, I think we haven't won a single game as of, like, you know, from all the battles I've reviewed so far. King lost, I lost, Flame lost, so it's not looking good. So we're hoping for a bounce back here. So without further ado, let's just get into the match in 3, 2, 1, and boom. So Hunter is going to lead off with, well, the Scrafty, as Josh leads with the Nidoking. You know, Nidoking's just going to fire off a Sludge Wave, do a pretty decent amount of damage, as the Scrafty fires off a knockoff, meaning that Scrafty could probably live another hit from the Nidoking if need be, but Hunter's going to switch out into the Mandibuzz. Switch on the Earth Power pretty well. And then now he's gonna double into the E-Fire, I believe. Yeah, I don't exactly know what he was predicting there. Maybe the Vaporeon, I guess. But the E-Fire just outspeeds the Nidoking and it kills the kills it with Ice Punch. So now Hunter's up 6-5, but this Weavile comes in, and Weavile, as Weavile typically does, forces a tremendous amount of pressure, and as a result, E-Fire just dies to the Weavile, shows to be Life Orb, and just like that, it's 5-5. Here comes Scrafty, drop the Intimidate to probably live a Life Orb Ice Crash afterwards. Anyways, here comes another exchange of Intimidate. Drain Punch comes and only does 23% to the Mawile, proving that this is definitely a more bulky Scrafty. Anyway, this is probably the coolest play so far of the entire week, if not the best play of the week. Mawile goes for a sub, and then here comes the young sub punch Mawile. Things that you only hear about in dreams, in fantasies, but it worked to perfection, and Heatran dies just like that. And now Josh is up 5-4. And, Hunter's kind of down, so he has to go into the Shandy. And, lo and behold, this is a Colbur Berry Chandelure, which is pretty good prep on Hunter's part. And my laptop is lagging really, really badly. Flamethrower comes out. Pause. Alright, here, okay, wait. Okay, let me get this back into motion. Okay. So anyways, now it's 4-4. And Miltank is a pretty easy switch. You could probably drop in some Toxics or Rocks, whatever it chooses to do. So, speaking of Rocks, there it is. Hunter goes for a Toxic and misses, which it's kind of unfortunate because you don't force Sting to go for Heal Bell if it has it. But now he gets the Toxic off, so we get to find out if Josh has the the Heal Bell or not. Anyways, Josh makes a weird play and clicks Body Slam, and it's kind of, I don't understand why he would make that play, but he did. Now Hunter's gonna switch into the Scrafty. Drop the Intimidate, so this will pretty much eat any hit whatsoever from the Miltank. Does about 10%, and that's always fantastic. As Hunter's going to he's going to reveal a really weird move here, I believe. Well, not yet. I'm wrong. And here comes the Drain Punch, does like nothing, which is just shows off how weak Scrafty is without investment and how bulky Miltank is. Anyways, Miltank is considered to stay in here for some reason. I don't know why. And then Hunter shows off the rest, which is interesting because it's not like he's rest Shed Skin, he's rest Intimidate. So it's basically here to just cycle Intimidates on the Weavile, I'm guessing. That would be the only legitimate reason why I would see you bringing this, because this is like 100% Mawile setup otherwise, but to each their own. Anyways, Miltank now switches on, here comes the Tornadus as Scrafty will stay asleep. So now Hunter has the easiest Mandibuzz switching of his life, but he does decide to sack the Chandelure, which is the smarter play because he really doesn't have a logical. I mean, he does have a Mandibuzz, but he can't really afford to be wasting turns clicking Defog. Anyways, here comes the Hurricane. Here's the confusion. Hunter does not hit himself in confusion, and he actually gets the knockoff off, knocking off the Choice Scarf of the Tornadus, which is a pretty interesting move slot for Tornadus. Maybe he was like Scarf superpower for the Porygon Z. No, that doesn't make any sense. I forget Z Omniboost isn't. Z Omniboost is banned. Anyways, so he hit himself in confusion there as he probably went for Ruse, which kind of blows for Hunter. So now here comes the Scrafty to, like I said, just exchange Intimidates on the Weavile to ensure that it can at least be neutered for a tiny bit of time before it just switches out. Speaking of the Devil, it just switches out. Scrafty now wakes up and reveals the Firium Z, which I don't understand its play like at all. I think just Drain Punch was your overall better play, but it's whatever. Anyways, Hunter's not going to switch into the Porygon Z, and here comes a pretty big oof right here to crit Body Slam. Luckily, it does not get paired, but a crit Body Slam is going to put him in range of a move you'll see later on. Anyways, here comes the Tri Attack, easily kills the Miltank at 1%. As now here comes the Vaporeon, and this Mon would not have been in range of Scald if not for the crit, which is kind of unfortunate because you'll see Scald will be able to pick up the kill. And just like that, Hunter is now down 2-3, and at this point Weavile is looking rather clean, especially since this thing isn't the healthiest in the world. But Hunter's going to take advantage of the Vaporeon being inside, as Vaporeon actually shows off the the Baton Pass. Anyways, here comes Weavile. It's going to force some tremendous pressure with the Life of Icicle Crash once again. Scrafty's going to come in and just exchange the Intimidate and take that Icicle Crash really well, showing that this is definitely a more physically defensive Scrafty. And I'm sure it doesn't take too much from low kick, which is why I can see this being a pretty smart set. Anyways, here comes the Drain Punch, doesn't do anything, so at this point Hunter has to hope on some Hurricane misses, but that doesn't happen. Scrafty goes down, and at this point it's a GG for Hunter, as Josh pretty much has this in the bag. There's really not much he can do. And here comes a Hurricane, gets confused just for laughs and giggles, I guess, as Mandibuzz is now trying to heal itself to about as much as it can, but there's really not much it can really do at this point in time, because it's probably like Bruised, Knockoff, Defog maybe, I don't really know. Anyways, we're just continuing to see Roost, but at this point it's a lost cause. Hunter, Hunter, my boy, you had to make up the lost cause for the IACL this week, but to no avail. You couldn't pull through for us. So I believe the IACL is now 0-4, and this week, because I lost, Flame lost, King lost, and now Hunter lost. So we basically have to hope on our last. We have one last hope, and you guys may know who it is naturally. Some of you guys may not know. So he'll actually be the next match up after this one, as we just wait for Weavile to come in and like do some massive work. As right now we see Amandibuzz do indeed 1v1 a Tornadus T with Toxic, which is understandable. Anyways, here comes the Weavile, I hope. Yeah, here comes the Weavile, and it should just click Icicle Crash about twice, and that should be a good game. Here comes the first one. Does he, I don't know, it's just Toxic, okay. So yeah, Hunter basically has to hope on an Icicle Crash miss, plus some more Icicle Crash misses, but to no avail, it doesn't happen. So Josh is going to win 2-0, so GG. Josh moves on to, I believe, 2-1. He might even be undefeated. I'm not 100% certain, but I'll look into it later. So anyways, let's get on to the next match, so I'll pause and be right back. Alright, we are back, and sorry if my voice was a little quieter. I was in my room with Daniel. I thought he would let me record, but he told me to shut up twice, so now I'm in my recording room, I guess you could say. And I also took like a 2-hour period of pause because I had to pick up my sister from cheer practice, and then my family was around, and don't want to record when they're around because then they'll question me, and I'll have to say, oh, I'm recording for my YouTube channel, and I don't think they really like want me to do that. So anyways, it's like 9:55 p.m. but I don't have anything for school tomorrow. Like it may as well be like a day off, but it's not. So anyways, we have Lou versus Marcus. Lou is our only hope in the ISCO getting a single win in week 3, because obviously week 3 has just not been our, it just hasn't been our time, unfortunately. And this brings up the reminder that Flame actually has a curse in week 3. He has like the worst ratio. He has the worst percentage of wins like ever in week 3, and that just goes to show. Anyways, Marcus, Lou bringing the Rabombi once again. He has the Arcanine, pretty similar looking team. I don't believe Decidueye has come to any weeks, if I'm not mistaken. That's like the only new thing I can see. And for Marcus, it looks pretty familiar, except the Swanna, which I would be more familiar with myself because I gave him the points needed to pick up Swanna. So I'm interested to see what Swanna does. Not to mention it's a matchup with the Thunders, which in theory Thunders T always wins, but we'll see. So anyways, let's just get into the game in 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, here we go. So, here comes Rabombi. It seems to be a pretty typical lead for Lou. Marcus leads with the Latias. Now he goes into the Registeel, making it to where if the Rabombi were to stand, it's essentially like free rocks. But with Arcanine coming in, it's not essentially free rocks anymore, because this could be a life for Flare Blitz for all he knows. Plus, I think like Flare Blitz will do a decent amount even if not invested, but Flare Blitz does 52% to a Latias, proving that this is definitely banded. There's no other way. Absolutely no other way that it would do that much damage. Now, Lou makes a pretty aggressive switch into the Mega Blastoise. Does take a decent chunk from the Psyshock, but not too much to fret, as he actually doubles here into the Thunder's T on the Swanna. I actually have no idea if he predicted the Swanna outright, because I guess Spadef Swanna is a thing. But Lou proven to have the U-turn, which is pretty interesting because Marcus does not have a ground type, so I guess he expected him to bring one, meaning he does not have Volt Switch. So, interesting choice on Lou's part, but either way, the Arcanine's about to claim a kill, and he actually sacks the Registeel outright, meaning he lost his fairy resist, so Rabombi is looking rather juicy, I guess you could say. Speaking of juicy, here comes the Swanna. Thunders comes in, sets up the Tailwind, and the only resists to electric moves is the thing weak to U-turn. So he takes a T-Bolt, and Lou's just going to take a side shock like a man until he does about 55%, and the Latias will go down. So just like that, Lou is looking pretty good at 6-4. Thunder's T, proving it hasn't always proved wonders. If you don't believe me, just look at his week 2 matchup versus Tristan. Yeah. Anyways, here comes the Blastoise. Scald comes in. It does burn the Blastoise, but it doesn't really matter, as that was a Life Orb Scald, so that just proves how bulky this Blastoise is. And anyways, Swanna's not going to switch out because I'm guessing it might not even have Hurricane for all I know. Maybe it doesn't. Anyways, here comes the Ice Beam. Does a decent amount to the thing, as it shows off to be like a Scarf like Gothitelle, and you will find out later in the game that it is. But Lou showing off the tech Roar, because I guess he didn't want to bank on Dark Pulse chipping it down if it was if it had too many Calm Mind boost, which is a pretty fair move on Lou's part. Anyways, here comes the Roost, as Blastoise actually fires off the Ice Beam that's resisted due to the Roost, which is kind of fun. And Swanna technically claims that kill due to him getting the burn, so Marcus celebrates a bit in the chat. But here comes the Rabombi. Lou knows that this does not have a flying move, so that's going to take a lot of damage. Here comes the Stun Spore to actually paralyze, and even with the paralysis nerf, Rabombi will outspeed even through the Tailwind due to Rabombi just being really fast. So Rabombi claims yet another kill in this season, which is always funny. Anyways, here comes another Moonblast, and Marcus actually clicks U-turn, so Rabombi decides to live for another day, which is kind of funny, because nothing's better than seeing a Rabombi live on for a much longer time period than you would expect. Anyways, here comes the Stun Spore, and Clefable actually gets paralyzed here, so Luke could choose to save his Rabombi, which I would definitely do if I were him, as he does with the U-turn. It doesn't really do that much damage, but I guess he doesn't really care. He just does it. Anyways, here comes the delicious T-Wave. Literally, Thunder's T just ate that up for breakfast and gained 25% HP. So back-to-back turns going in Lou's favor drastically. Anyways, here comes the Sludge Wave, and this will reveal to be Scarf Gothitelle. And here comes the T-Bolt, and that just kills it. So Gothitelle now goes down. It's now 5-2, looking really good in Lou's favor, as HP Ice actually fails to kill, making me believe this is Assault Vest Thunder's T. That would be the most logical reasoning, especially since Psychic didn't do too much from an offensive Gothitelle. Anyways, here comes the Sludge Wave onto the Clefable, as Clefable just uses the Thunder Wave, so Lou is going to pick up the nice and juicy 5-0 win. So Lou does make up for all of our losses in the ICL. So Lou, it's not every day we have to put it's not every day we have to put all the weight on your shoulders, but you did it for us today, buddy, and he's had quite a bit of success this season. Definitely contrary to the last season when he just didn't have anything going for him. Everything went downhill. He just wasn't winning games for some reason, because he's a pretty good battler, and his battling is coming to fruition. The weird thing with Lou is that he's either really consistent or he's inconsistent. Don't get me wrong. So he's either really good or just like AIDS. It's only one of those two. So anyways, GG to Lou. Moving on to a pretty decent record. He's 2-1. Yeah, 2-1. Yeah, he's 2-1. This is week 3. Okay, anyways, so yeah, I'll pause and I'll be right back. And bada bing, bada boom, we are back, and we have Michael versus Cole. Obviously, Cole being the reigning Minior champion, trying to make his way into the Magear championship. We'll see if he can get it done. Anyways, he has a pretty scary team with Mega Diancie plus Volcarona, with Crobat, Ferrothorn, Starmie, and such. Rocker looks to be the Ferrothorn, but it could be Diancie for all we know. And for Michael, his only potential rocker seems to be the Doublade. I doubt that's what it is. So, interesting team on Michael's part. He definitely seems to he likes to run more offensive teams. So, I definitely expect nothing less but some sort of offense in some shape or form. So, anyways, let's get into the match in 3, 2, 1, and boom. So, Cole's gonna lead straight with the Crobat, showing that he just wants to form some form of initiative, is what I'm trying to say. And when it comes to U-turn, this proves to be a defensive Zatsu. So that U-turn just proves that U-turn does a decent amount, considering that's probably max defense Zatsu. So maybe it's banned, but we'll find out. Anyways, here comes the the Mega Dante. No HP steal, unfortunately. At least if we didn't see it, that would be kind of cool. But anyways, here comes Moonblast. That actually doesn't do too much to Doublé, considering it's not really that bulky, even with any Violet in the special side. So anyways, here comes the Ferrothorn. As Doublé actually shows up the SD. So this can definitely prove to do a considerable amount of work. Anyways, here comes the Sacred Sword, and it's kind of funny because Doublade's still slower than Ferrothorn. Doublade would actually outspeed Ferrothorn outside of Trick Room, and it's kind of hurting it, which is kind of funny. Anyways, he clicks Rock Slide here, which I don't necessarily agree with because like Crobat doesn't really kill Doublade unless it has Heat Wave, and I don't think he's gonna have Heat Wave. But that's just me. Anyways, here comes another Rock Slide. Again, I don't agree with this play. Sacred Sword was definitely his better play, but it's all good. Anyways, Michael comes into the Venusaur, not Mega just yet. Takes a decent amount for foul play because Venusaur actually does have a decent attack stat even before Mega. Because obviously when in Megas, that's a much higher attack stat, base 100 to be exact. Anyways, here comes the Mega Venusaur. It does show off the HP Ice, so good play on Michael's part there. As Cole's going to take this turn to realize that staying in would be a pretty bad play, so he's going to click Roost. And now Cole's going to make the another smart play, go into the Umbreon, because Sacred Sword, even if you were to click it, obviously will not do too much. So, and Cole realizes that since the Violet's knocked off, and even if it was not knocked off, I'm pretty sure it died to foul play. So Cole realizes that Wish is a pretty free play, and he can just click foul play at this point. Like, sure, you can go into Pangoro, but honestly, I probably would have gone to Pangoro if I were Michael, but it's okay. So Doublé goes down. Here comes the Tatsu, so we might see another potential Trick Room or just a straight Roost as we see here. So we see that this has Roost, this has U-Turn, and this has Trick Room. I don't think we've seen a fourth move unless I've been mistaken. Anyways, Umbreon, Michael realizes that Umbreon probably won't be able to kill it to foul play, considering it's just going to Roost all day. So Diancie's a pretty free switching, and Diancie's going to prove to have the Calm Mind. And I was hoping this Mew would actually have Iron Tail, not Flash Cannon, but Michael is going to show off the Flash Cannon instead of the Iron Tail, so Diancie is going to live it pretty comfortably, especially since he got the -1 drop. So it only does 44%. They kind of Cole made more of a deal out of it than he should have. Basically Cole was like he looked for a tremendous amount of reason to see why the Flash Cannon. Why the drop didn't matter in the Flash Cannon, but we all need that. I'm sure Michael needed that too. Anyways, our power comes in, doesn't kill the Volcanion due to Shuka Berry. So Michael did unnecessarily sack his Venusaur, but I guess at this point the game was pretty much set and done because I guess Mew was one of his win cons and it kind of went down. Anyways, here comes the Crobat, does show off the Brave Bird, leading me more to believe that this is definitely a Bandit Crobat, especially since he swapped out when Doublade came in, but because he could have clicked U-turn for the chip, but I guess there was no need to. Anyways, here comes the Brave Bird, that definitely shows to be banded. And even with a banded Brave Bird from Crobat, still fails to kill Zatsu from 75%, which is kind of funny. Anyways, here comes the Volcarona. Volcarona is not going to choose to click the Fiery Dance as the Pangoro comes in. So Cole can still get the 5-0 if he makes some pretty fancy plays here between Pangoro's knockoff and its fighting move, because obviously Michael's only gonna have 2 turns of Trick Room to work with at this point. So Cole's gonna do exactly that. He's gonna go into Umbreon on the knockoff, and then he's going to go into Crobat on the fighting move, and obviously he's gonna take that pretty comfortably. Then he can just click Brave Bird and Zaltu with that rocks, and that'll be GG. And that's exactly what happened. So Cole plays the end game pretty well. As a result, he's gonna get a pretty comfortable 5-0 in the result. So good game by Cole, and good game to Michael. I could definitely see where the strat was coming from, but it just didn't pull through because I guess Cole just he played the turns needed to ensure that he was not going to get swept or at least get considerably chunked by a certain mon. So well played to Cole. I actually played Michael in week 4, so we'll see what happens there. So I'm gonna pause and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're actually on to the last game, which is Gareth versus Ethan, and 2 very interesting players. I know Gareth pretty well from the GPC, and I've only played Ethan once, and that was actually week 2, which was last week, if you all are, keeping up with that. Anyways, Gareth showing a pretty similar team as he's done so for the past couple weeks, and Ethan, the same, except he didn't bring Veil versus me. He decided to bring Veil week 3 because Veil was busted, so why wouldn't you ever bring it? Veil with Suicune, Entei, Skull, basically full setup, like Calm Mind, Alakazam, or like Sub Calm Mind, Alakazam, DD, Planium Z Salamence, SD, like Bugium Z or Z Rockium Z Scolipede, I guess, or Groundium Z. I don't know. There's like 4 different Z moves. Z Crystals you can run Scolipede that are pretty decent. Not obviously 9 cents for Veil, Suicune for Calm Minding, or like it'd be Vuikun or Krokun, whatever one I guess, and obviously Entei. Entei doesn't get the best setup in the world. I guess he can run like Flame Charge Weakness Policy, but you know we'll see. Anyways, so up hot. Well, we're gonna get in it in 3, 2, 1, and boom. So anyways, last match of the video, we'll see what happens as Gareth gets the tremendous starting matchup as, interestingly enough, Ethan's going to stay in here, but we're going to find out why, because he reveals the Miracle, and Gareth does actually get the para, which Ethan did say it kind of sucked, like even after, like even though he didn't get parried there, he said it kind of just sucked in general. I really don't know why, but I guess I'm not going to really look into it, there's no need to. Anyways, here comes the Salamence. Clicks Earth Power and doesn't hit anything because it's flying, but HP Ice is going to come in. Ethan reveals the Yachi Berry, which does save him a life because that would have died otherwise. And here comes the Dragon Claw. It doesn't really do anything to Shaman, so Shaman eats that pretty well. Obviously not even getting to it KO'd. And then now here comes the Suicune, and Gareth makes a pretty decent play. Clicks Seed Flare, predicting Salamence to switch up because Salamence is a 4 times Grass Resist, so obviously you would only click that if you were expecting to switch. So not bad on Gareth's part. Up 5-5. Well, it's actually tied 5-5 is the correct term. Anyways, here comes the Scolipede clicking SD, and it's now +1 speed. So we'll see if this is a Life Orb or Z move right now. Clicks Earthquake. That does a lot because it's Life Orb. So there's our answer. And Gareth's actually going to choose to knock off the Life Orb. So this is the second time this week we've seen a Pokemon knock off a Life Orb. After it, well, I mean, it wasn't set up, but it was just in front of it. Anyways, here comes the Roost, and see, okay, so this is the second time that we knocked off a Life Orb, which prevented something from getting to a KO. Except we didn't get to find that out because Hunter swapped, but I'm pretty sure he ate any hit afterwards. I could be wrong though. That's just off the top of my head with my my brain calcs, I guess you can say. Anyways, Scolipede dies to the Scizor, but Scizor is obviously tremendously weakened, so it can really never do much anymore. But Gareth is going to choose to save it, which is really interesting because obviously he realized Sub was a potent move that can be clicked, and obviously if you just chose to click, I mean, I guess Knockoff would have broke Sub, but it's whatever. Anyways, here comes the Scald, and Gareth's going to make a pretty good play here, actually. He's going to go into the Crocodile on just what would be expected to be another Stone Edge, but Ethan actually clicks Rockium Z, I guess just to avoid missing. But he's going to actually burn his Z move and only do 21% to the Crocodile. So really, really good set of plays for Gareth there. That couldn't have worked out any better for him. Anyways, here comes the Stealth Rock for the Crocodile. This is playing to be a Scarf Crocodile, so it looks like Scarf Rocks, which is kind of cool. And here comes this, and Dragon Claw doesn't really matter if it kills the Scizor because obviously he kept it for sacking purposes. And obviously since it's Intimidate, it doesn't really matter if it gets the kill because it won't be boosted. Anyways, here comes the Rock Slide. He knows more than well to... He now knows after last week versus me that Rock Slide isn't... I mean, it was week 1 that he played me. Anyways, he obviously knows that he doesn't want to always miss Stone Edge, so Rock Slide being there is pretty good. Anyways, Gareth realizes that this is kind of a problem because it does trace the Water Absorb, meaning this Mantine, unless it is running Air Slash, can't really beat this. And if you read the chat, he definitely seems like he's acting like he doesn't have Air Slash, only Scald, so that's pretty much a 4 switch out. Shaman comes in and just straight up dies, so Alakazam looking to be pretty big here, as if he has Focus Blast, which he does, it just straight up kills the Crocodile. So this might not have been Scarf Crocodile unless it was running like a really speedy Alakazam and Gareth didn't run a lot of speed on the Crook. One of those two, I don't know. Anyways, here comes the Stone Edge. Psyshock comes, yeah, Edge misses, so we have a repeated motif of Gareth now in the IPA. I guess he just can't hit an edge with the Aerodactyl, and it's true terror, I guess you can say, when you can't hit a Stone Edge. Anyways, here comes the Mantine, but there's nothing that can be done. The game is pretty much over, and Gareth realizes that by just clicking the clicking the Mercy Toxic at this point, so that's going to be a 3-0 win in Ethan's favor. So GG to Gareth and GG to Ethan. Well played on both parts. Could have gone either way, but Alakazam, once it clicked Sub, Sub Alakazam is just dumb. Like, I'm pretty sure he's brought Sub every single time, and it could have done work versus me, but like Alakazam, it's just one of those mons. Once it gets banned to Sub, it's like, well, what do I do now? You know, base like 160 something special attack. It's a lie. I forget how much it really is. So anyways, that's a good game to Ethan. And that'll be the end of the video. I accidentally ended the first recording session, so I'll just combine the two videos while editing. It's no problem. So anyways, I'll see you all next week. Well, by next week I mean like in a couple of days, because I need to pump these out for my fans. Like, thank you to the 2 people that watched this video. I appreciate you. So anyways, that'll be in the enemy. So au revoir and peace.